everybody, it's your girl Annette J. Morris. I am the owner and CEO of Go Getter LLC. Y'all know it's our vision at Go Getter LLC to help women to identify their God-given gifts, monetize that gift, turn it into a 5 to 7 figure income generating business that supports their lives and legacies. And I am your host for the Mind TV series. Y'all know the Mind, M-I-N-D, is moving in new directions. So every week we bring y'all a bomb entrepreneur that's talking about how their entrepreneurship journey has moved their lives in new directions. Y'all know who this is. This your boy. It's the pastor. He back again. I told y'all he coming back every month now. So tell him, remind the people who you are and tell them what we're going to talk about.
I'm Shelton D. Johnson Sr. I've been here and I'm going to keep coming back. Even though her purpose is directed toward women, this show is about entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And I am an entrepreneur.
And guess what? He's one of my clients as well, y'all. So I target women, but I still have guys that are in the mix. He happens to be in the mix and has been here for a couple of years now. Huh?
More than a couple of years.
Yeah, see that?
I was here back in the t-shirt days.
Yes, okay. Y'all don't know I used to print t-shirts, but yeah, he's been around for quite some time.
I've been around for a while. I was back in the t-shirt days, in the old office.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. In the city, in New Orleans. Yeah, so he been with me for a while, y'all.
So she obviously is doing something right. I've been around for this long.
Yes. He's still here.
Yes. And I'm coming back.
So we're talking about the network today.
Yes, we are.
Tell the people about the network.
So as previously we talked about on previous shows about the Dominion Tower of Prayer and how we get to that point is in order to build a network, of course, you need money, right? You need money to be able to build any network, any organization. And so I needed to create a product. We needed to create a product so that people will have access to this product that will build a network.
Okay.
And so what Dominion Network is, it's a financial ecosystem.
Okay.
So you have Dominion Tower of Prayer, you have Dominion BMS, which is Dominion Business Management Solutions.
Okay.
You have Dominion University, Dominion Credit Union.
Okay.
You have the Dream Project. You have Land of Dominion, and then you have Dominion Network itself.
Okay.
Right. So Dominion Network is 7 organizations that is strategically designed to help people move their life forward economically, move their life forward relationally, and move their life forward as it relates to others.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we have to deal with ourselves, we have to deal with situations, and we have to deal with others. And so Dominion Network helps us to be able to do that economically. So the prayer app is designed to be able to give us a foundation, an opportunity to pray, right? Because everything that we do in any religion, it's the foundation is faith and prayer.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
So to be able to pray, to be able to bring the world together, because this app is being used by people all around the world.
Okay.
And so as we continue to grow in the numbers in the app, we're launching those businesses. We're launching Dominion Credit Union and Dominion University.
Okay. So those are the next 2 launches.
Those are the next 2 launches that we're going to be able to do. And so we've had African American, and we still do. I bank with them with black banks, black credit unions. Here's the thing: until we have a definitive agenda of how we can get the resources, the capital, and the opportunity to single mothers, to seniors, to young men and women growing up, until we could do that on a consistent basis, then we're not going to see the return that we really need to see.
Okay.
Right? And so Dominion Credit Union is focused on driving that initiative, driving that agenda. And so we've made great strides. The issue is that we're moving by inches in a mile game. Okay. So you'll see us make small strides, but in the big scheme of things, we're losing.
Okay. So what is your agenda for the credit union? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish, or what is the mission of the credit union?
Well, the basis of the credit union is financial education, right?
Okay.
Is to continue to have classes, to have trainings, to have seminars, to give courses, because the mind has to be trained and prepared for anything.
Okay.
Definitely for finances, right? So the credit union is there, the banks are there, but if I don't understand that I got to keep my debt down. If I don't understand from every paycheck, even if it's a dime, it needs to be invested somewhere. Somewhere. And so everybody may not have $500 to start a CD, but you can do $25 in Fundrise. Fundrise is a real estate investment, right? That you can start with, right? Where you start with $25 or $50, right? So we have to give them the education. We have to give them the tools. And so Dominion Credit Union is going to focus on training the mind, giving you tools, giving you resources, and then showing you how to be able to do that. Understanding that life is not a sprint. Life is a marathon. We have to play the long game in life.
Correct.
And so that's the focal point. And then once we're doing the training, the resources, giving them the mindset, now we make them available to get the capital to buy houses, to be able to get credit cards, to be able to buy used cars and news cars, so on and so forth. But the fundamental basics have not been relatively solved in our community. So even though we have black banks and we have black credit unions, we're not moving in the mile game because we're still moving by inches.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, that sounds yeah, because definitely financial literacy is not taught to our young people, which means we have adults that are growing up to be ignorant as it regards like how to handle their finances.
Right.
We even have adults that don't have a clue of how to write a check. I mean, we're not doing too much check writing anymore.
Right.
But to know how to do that is empowering, right? You just need to know how to do it in the event that you have to do it, right? They don't know how to balance a checkbook, because even if you swipe a card, there's still money coming out your checking account. You need to be able to balance that checking account, right? They don't know how to utilize credit cards, right, properly. And because, you know, the old people used to say, you know, if you have credit cards, don't use them unless it's an emergency. They don't tell you if you use these credit cards, you could gain the points from them, whatever you was gonna pay the bill with, as opposed to paying it out your checking account, put the bill on the credit card and then move that money from the checking account on the credit card, and you could use the points to travel with. Like, they don't tell you all of that stuff, right, the advantages, because they really don't know. So like with the credit union, you're gonna be teaching financial literacy. Are you gonna be teaching it to like the young people, or just adults, or both?
Well, so life is really about systems, right? So the system, we're going to be teaching it to the young, the middle age, and the old.
Okay.
Right? But because it doesn't matter where you are, you can change any area of your life, whether you're 5, 50, or 85.
Correct.
You can change, right? So there'll be specific courses and specific teachings and trainings and webinars for young. Think about this. If we taught financial literacy to 5-year-olds, right? And a 5-year-old, for example, right? If a 5-year-old starts selling, I don't know, just take rocks, and they paint rocks. The average 5-year-old that goes in a neighborhood and sell a painted rock for $2, right? The average adult is gonna buy that rock.
Right, because they're cute.
Because they're cute and they're kids, right? And the kids is getting the training and a sense of entrepreneurship. So if that child does that every Saturday morning and say they're just gonna sell 25 rocks, it's $50, that's $200. If they take $30 and invest it every week, right, and just keep the 20, right, that's $120 a month,
right,
at 5, at 5, right? Now, the good thing is, as they evolve and get older, of course, that 5-year-old can get away with selling rocks. 10-year-old is going to be a little bit difficult. So then they're going to have to learn how to evolve as an entrepreneur. So we're going to teach the 5-year-old to 10-year-old, the 13, the 18, the 25-year-old, the 35-year-old, the 55-year-old, and even the 70-year-old, so that they can understand where you are in life. So the way that the financial spectrum work is from say 18 to about 35 or so. Those are my learning years.
Okay.
Right? Those are the years that I learn. I gain experience. I get educated. Then from about 36 to 45, maybe 50, those are some of my highest earning years.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
This is why, you know, when people talk about being a millionaire, this and that, the average millionaire in America is 57.
Did they get to be a millionaire at 57?
That's when they became a millionaire. At that average age is around 57.
I'm only 48. I got 9 more years
Well,
to go.
so here's the thing to understand is this, is when you look at the spectrum from say 18 to 35, is you have to be gaining the right experience, the right education, developing the right relationships, right? So that once you hit 36 to 45 or 36 to 50, you could earn more. And when you earn more, then eventually you become the millionaire. And I'm not saying that it has to take that long.
Yeah, I was just joking.
But I'm saying, right, I'm saying
On average.
that on average that people have to understand how money works, right? And so we have a lot of people on Facebook and especially Instagram that are millionaires.
Correct.
But being a millionaire at 25, it's a great accomplishment. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to do it, I didn't do it, and I thank God I didn't. But being able to maintain that for another 30 years is going to be way harder, especially with keeping up with trends, buying designer, taking the trips. You're not accounting for things. And hey, listen, it's great, but I just want to make sure you understand in totality what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so financial education is a big part of what we're going to do and what we will do in Dominion Credit Union.
Okay. All right. Good. And then you said the next phase is, what's the next phase?
Is Dominion University.
University. Okay. So what's the university going to offer? I know the last time you told us it has 3 tracks that you're going to start
Right, 3
with.
primary degrees.
Okay.
It'll be, we'll start off with associate degrees in business, nursing, and education.
Okay.
Those are 3 growing areas of industry. Right now, we have a major shortage problem of nurses in America.
We definitely do.
And we definitely need to understand business, and we do need to understand education and how it works. One of the things I tell people, there's only 2 major reasons for education in America. That's it, it's 2. Number 1 is to train the mind how to think sound and analytically, make quality decisions, right?
Correct.
Then the next reason is in our democracy, our economic system is called capitalism. In order to fuel capitalism, you need employees. So our education system, number 1, trains the mind how to think, the brain how to think, sound and analytically, and then it creates employees.
Employees, yeah. And that's absolutely correct. Because I was just talking to, who was I talking to recently? And I was like, one of the things is we, at this generation, are at a point where we have to unlearn what the old generation taught us.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the old generation taught us, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job.
Yes.
Train us to be employees,
Right.
right? Now, because we have social media, we have the World Wide Web, we have technology, we have computers, we have access to so much more than they had back then, we don't have to go to school to be employees.
No, we don't.
We could go to school, learn the skill, and then come out of school and take that and create an entrepreneurship adventure for us and our families to leave a you can't leave a legacy with somebody else's business, right? If you have a job, when you die, none of that goes to your children, not even your job, right?
Right.
Whereas if you create a business, then you can leave that whole business to your children, right? You can't create legacy with somebody else's business, right? Now, again, is entrepreneurship for everybody? Absolutely not. This is some of the hardest stuff I've ever done in my life. And I've had 2 kids. And this is worse, right? And I'm not gonna say worse. It is way harder than even having 2 kids, right? So I know that it's not for everybody, but you can do it on a part-time basis, right? So even if you did, because God has given us all a gift, and the gift has the ability to gain wealth, right?
Exactly.
So we know that wealth is in us. We just have to exercise it and pull it out of us, right? But is everybody willing to make that sacrifice that it takes to be a full-time entrepreneur? Not necessarily.
Right
And
now.
I know that it's very, very hard to do so. So what made you come up with doing a university?
I love education. I have about 9 degrees myself. My ultimate goal is to have 12. And so that is near and dear to my heart. Understanding that we have a major issue with student loan debt. And
Here
then
goes telling me.
right, to be able to give people an opportunity, our young children, young men and women opportunity, and even some middle age, and even people our age,
Correct.
the opportunity to get the education that they desire, that will make them more marketable in the marketplace, and not have to be concerned with that large amount of debt. It's near and dear to my heart. And so I believe that the number 1 thing God put us here for, after acknowledging that He is God and beside Him there is no other, is to be able to solve problems for humanity.
Correct.
Right,
This is it.
that's the number one purpose, other than the first one I just mentioned. And so I love solving problems, and so education debt, student loan debt is high, and then having a strategic plan of how to be able to navigate with no tuition, and then being able to walk right into having a financial foundation is important. And so I love education, and I wanted to be able to impact the lives of our young boys and young girls, young men and young women that's going to be going to college, and the cost of college is continuing to be at an all-time high. Let me backtrack real quick. So I believe exactly what you say. Everybody can't be entrepreneurs.
Correct.
But I do believe that everybody can be business owners. And here's what I mean by that. Entrepreneurs are the ones that make the investments and they own the business. The business owner can be a person who owns a stock in Walmart. So even though you may not be running Walmart, you're still a business owner because you own a small share.
Yeah.
So everybody may not be entrepreneurs, but everybody should be a business owner. There is no reason why everybody in America shouldn't own a piece
Of
something.
Correct. Yeah. And then that would be an easier process because guess what? The blueprint is already set.
already set.
Somebody's already working it.
There you go.
Somebody's already ran with the vision. All you doing is coming in on the back end of it. Just like when you are an employee, right? You literally don't have to create the blueprint. As an entrepreneur, you have to create the blueprint,
Yes.
follow the blueprint, all of
Yes.
these things, right? And again, I just saw a comment on Facebook last week that they said entrepreneur is somebody that runs with a vision that nobody else sees,
Exactly.
right? So a lot of times they think we're crazy because we are.
Right. and you have to be.
Yes, we don't
Because
want
it's
to
like
see
seeing
it.
a ghost.
Yes.
You're the only one that
The
sees the
only
ghost,
one.
and everybody's looking at you like, "What are you talking about? What? It's right there. You can't see it." No.
No.
What's the problem? He's coming at us. Nobody can see it.
Right.
But you.
But you, absolutely. That's just like when Noah was building a boat, right? He was preparing for the storm, and people thought he was crazy because he was a wino too as well, right? And that's the same way people look at us as entrepreneurs. And we start talking about like a vision and manifesting this thing. People don't see it until it's like manifested like this, so people can walk into our office and
Right.
touch it. But I've been talking about this for 12 years. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So you don't see it until it manifests, and you're like, oh, but by the time you catch on, it's too late.
Exactly.
So what else is on the horizon for the Dominion network?
So we are looking at 100,000. We will launch the credit union and the university, and then at 500,000, because we grow in increments. At 500,000, we'll be launching the Dream Project, which
Okay.
the Dream Project deals with helping single mothers increase their income. So one of the things in the Black community, and this happened back in 1964, we found out that we had a major issue that will evolve over time if we didn't deal with it, and that was the amount of single Black mothers in the
Okay.
Black community. So in 1964, when Patrick Moynihan did the report, it was only 1 in every 5 Black baby was born to a single mother, which
Okay.
is only 20%. Black people said it was racist, the report was racist. Well, fast forward to 2015 now, it's 72%. So 7 out of 10, out of every 10 Black child born in America, they're
7
born to 7 single mothers,
Wow.
right? So Patrick Moynihan said at the time, he told President Johnson, he said, listen, if we don't correct this problem in the Black community, not only is it going to impact the social economics of the Black community, but it's going to weaken the structure of the Black family.
Correct.
So when you look at the average Black mother has 2.1 children. How to get to 0.1?
I was say I never.
I don't know,
understood that. It's
but
like
that's
the,
what the stats say.
that's like the American dream with 2.5 kids and a fence and a dog. I'm like, where's the 0.5?
Hey, I don't
want
know.
the 0.5
It's a
kids.
half family, half parents. I don't know
I
how
don't
they get
know.
it, right? So, but 2.1 children. 50% of the United States, which is about 25 states or whatever, 60% of the women of color
Okay.
makes $15 an hour or less. So we got a problem. We're expecting a single mother that makes $15 an hour, even if she's on food stamps, even if she's on Section 8. We're asking her to pay reduced rent. We're asking her to still buy food because food stamps is not going to be enough.
Correct.
She still got to buy food. She still has to pay lights because there's no reduced light bill.
Not at all.
She still has to pay a cell phone bill, right? She still has to pay gas. God forbid she have a car note and car insurance and live with 2 children
Right.
on $15
On $15
an hour.
an hour.
It's it's set up for failure. So what the Dream Project does is it helps build strategic partnerships with major corporations targeted at work from home jobs. We train those single mothers based on the requirements and the criteria of those jobs.
Okay.
And we look for jobs anywhere from $20 to or more per hour. So there'll be a minimum of a $5 an hour increase or more. And then we marry them up with those opportunities with strategic partnerships with Fortune 500 companies and other companies that have stay-at-home or work-from-home jobs, so that we can increase the amount of money that they make and be able to put them in a better position so that they can take care of their children, live a more suitable life, spend more time with their children.
Okay, all right. And so you all establish relationships, I'm assuming, with the different businesses so that you
Correct.
can kind of channel these women
Right,
into
and we also will provide the training for them
Right.
for those jobs. It'd be a lot of jobs with a lot of soft skills, nothing too technical and difficult, something that we can train them within 90 to 180 days.
Okay.
And then we'll marry them up with those different jobs based on the requirements and based on their skill
the
set.
skill set. Okay. All right, that's pretty phenomenal. And you said the target population for that is just single mothers?
It's single mothers, and we also do, that's the target is single mothers, but then we're open to men as well. But the
Okay.
target is to
single
help single
mothers.
mothers, because what's happening is that because the mother has the child most of the time, she's bearing the brunt economically.
Okay.
So because we need to focus on her, it's not that she's not the only thing, but she's the main thing.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
want to be able to do that. And then the other part of the Dream Project is we're focused on reducing recidivism, the amount of our young men and young women, our grown men and grown women going in and out of the correctional
Prison.
facilities.
Okay, all right. And that's good, because if we talk about finances, job readiness, those type of things or whatever, a lot of times those are situations, the reason why people typically find themselves in prison
Right.
and going back and forth, right? So I'm gonna use, for example, like when I did a teen camp, this was my first year doing, including boys. So when I first started doing teen camps, which was 12, 13 years ago, I had all girls, and then I added boys. I had one boy that came and he had a probation officer. So at this point, he's like 14 years old, and a guy comes to the camp and he was like, "I'd like to see," he said the guy's name, and I was like, "Who are you?" Right? Because I knew it wasn't a parent. And he was like, "Well, I'm his probation officer." And I was like, startled, first of all, because this child's 14, why does he have a probation officer? And so, but the child was, you could tell, like, he had some street in him. He was a sweet child. Anything I asked him to do, he was gonna do it, X, Y, Z, or whatever. And so the probation officer came to see him like once or twice a week. And so one time I'm sitting down talking to the probation officer, and I was like, "What happened? Like, why does he have a probation officer?" And he was like, the boy's mom had like 10 kids, right? And she just kept having kids, but they were very, very, very poor. And one night what happened was, he was outside riding his bike or whatever. She bought pizza, but she bought like 2 large pizzas. One was for all the children, and one was for her and her boyfriend or whatever, right? And so naturally, when he came inside, one of the other children was still hungry after having one slice of pizza, and they ate his slice, right? So when he came inside, he had nothing. So he went back out the door or whatever, and was like pulling on car handles, trying to see if he could get some change out of somebody's car, and somebody called the police on him. So my thing is, was he really robbing somebody, or was he really just trying to survive and eat?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he was gonna steal it from somebody, but the ultimate thing was, he was hungry,
Right,
right?
right.
And so if we don't ever teach, like, how to secure jobs, how to make, like, we could teach job readiness and get you ready and have a resume and get you there, but we also have to teach, sustainability, like how
Right.
to maintain this employment, right? How to go after jobs that pay a livable wage and not just settle for somewhere that pays $8 an hour, knowing you can't survive off that, right? So training them in that way, and then when you get the money in hand, now you need to learn some financial literacy, because you need to know how to maintain these dollars, right? And
Right.
make them make sense. Pay what you're responsible for, make sure you can get food, don't live outside your means, all of these other things or whatever. So I think everything that you are teaching is something that is very needed in our
Right.
community, right? It's really gonna help families to survive more, to survive better, to generate more revenue, to get better jobs, better paying jobs. All of this is a need in our community. So I do commend you
Right.
for stepping out on faith and using your God-given gifts to start businesses that's looking out for the greater good of the community. So thank you, Pastor Shelton, again for coming back.
Yes,
We're gonna see him
yes.
again next month, y'all. But tell the people again how they can stay in touch with you, how they can follow you, and what you have coming up next.
Shelton D. Johnson Sr. is, and that's SR, on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and YouTube as well. You can find me on all those platforms. As far as what I got coming up next is we're going to continue to grow the prayer app, and then we're going to move, once we hit 500,000, we're going to move to the next phase, which is going to be launching Land of Dominion, where we'll be able to give home loans that won't be credit dependent.
Okay. All right. Cool. And where do they find the app?
You can go to the Google Play Store, which is Android, or you can go to the Apple App Store, and you can download it. It's Dominion Tower of Prayer, Dominion Tower of Prayer, and you can go on the app. Once you subscribe to it, you can go into any room, you can pray, or you can listen to people praying, you can leave comments. It tracks the amount of time you pray and the amount of time that everybody pray in the app, and I want to see you one day in the app.
Yes. We want to see you, y'all. So good. Thank y'all again for joining us this week. Next week, we'll be back same time, same place, same station with another entrepreneur that's going to tell you how their entrepreneurship journey is moving their lives in new directions. See y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Go Getter University. It's the home and a one-stop for entrepreneurs teaching all things entrepreneurship. We have courses ranging from how to start a business, how to start a nonprofit organization, to how to generate your first 10K consistent months, on to grant writing. Anything that you want to learn about entrepreneurship, it is in Go Getter University. Follow us at www.goalgetteruniversity.com to register.